Hey everyone, this is Villains Man, and I'm JVD.
And I'm Smiley. And today we'll be speaking about house rules in our games.
And this is kind of a branch off from our combos conversation we were coming up with, because technically those are house rules. Those are rules that we are going to incorporate in our game, and maybe one day they'll be published.
Maybe.
So I brought this up to Smiley because there's one constant at every table that you will ever roll dice at, despite any game it is. It could be D&D, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Savage World, World of Darkness. Everybody has house rules.
Yes.
And I would say playing with you is probably the fourth table I've ever sat at, with a majority of people that constantly play. And we don't really have a lot of house rules.
No, we don't. I feel like 5th edition covers things fairly good.
Yes. And I feel that in previous tables I've played at, a lot of house rules that we have are easily transitioned into rules from 5th edition.
Yeah.
But we do have some that I created in our game, The Ancient World Born, which you can find on YouTube. Plug that real fast. Get out of the way, and I'll start with that. The Bearded Wonder was playing a character named Vesper, and she was a rogue that had turned into a warlock through a pact of Koth or Cloth, however you want to pronounce it. And she was using Misty Step to get behind people for sneak attack. And to a degree, that's kind of breaking the game to a degree. And we were talking about, and it doesn't, not that it bothers me, but and then I got to think about it. Well, here's the thing. In D&D, you fight two types of foes. You fight intelligence foes. Like, you're constantly going to fight people that's as trained and as skilled as you. And then you're going to fight unintelligent foes, like some monsters and whatnot. And so I made a deal with him, and our house rule was at this time, and it makes perfect sense that if she uses it, if she was to do it against an intelligent opponent, they would have a dexterity roll off which she had a +5 in dex.
Yeah.
But to see if they could react to it, because if they were quick enough to know that she was going to teleport behind them, because that's almost your move for something like that, that they would react and she would not get her sneak attack off.
Like they'd hear her cast the spell. Like
Yes.
It's just a verbal component. But still they'd hear her say, ah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and to know that, well, she's not in front of me, I'm quick enough to, defend my backside. Yeah. So, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So that was a house rule that we admitted.
My main house rule is the fact that the frightening condition can turn a lot of fun encounters into slogs.
Yes.
That's one thing that's, especially doing dragons or like wizards with the fear spell. Mm-hmm. And this mainly applies to the fear spell for players, is I will give them a save at the end of each turn instead of when they break line of sight.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, especially to throw back on the Ancient War Born, based on, and maybe I should have done this during the fight when you fought Pirnoff, is that Evan the Great's character, Luda, was doing such a great job fighting her. And I think maybe I did do that with you guys. We try to keep giving you those because she was being,
it's just that
she was being inspiring to you, you know.
You did give us a roll at the end of each round. It's just that, like, my character's wisdom,
y'all's wisdoms
I rolled a nat 20 and failed.
Yes.
What's another why I get the house roll? If you roll a nat 20 on the saving throw, you will always succeed. Roll a nat 1, you will always fail.
Which is an old house rule for me.
Which I always thought was just a rule, and I found out that's just a house rule that everyone uses. Yeah.
I remember when I first started playing the game, because that was one of the ones I was going to bring up, so that's good. That's what we just covered before. Now, the other one I was going to bring up, and I remember when I first started playing 3.5, because, I go that far back, that I literally thought was a rule was when you hit a creature with a critical on a 20, and that if you rolled again and you rolled another 20, that if you would break after the second 20, you automatically killed the creature.
See, I was always told you have to roll 3 20s.
So no, ours was always 20-20 break.
Ours was 20 crit. 20, you hit the if you hit after the 20, it's a crit. If your second 20 was a 20, you would always crit, even if you would normally hit them. And if you roll a 20 a third time, they just die.
Yeah. No, ours was if you roll a 20 and then you go for the critical break, if you rolled another 20, if you could break the armor class. Because, in 3.5, your armor classes would get ridiculous.
Like an imp had like 24 fucking AC.
Yeah, and you're fighting a red dragon with like an armor class of 33. Yeah. You're not going to see any of that in 5th edition, thank the gods. But here's the thing. As we play 5e and advantage is such a big thing, I don't mind keeping that around. Because it's
320.
Yes,
see, I agree with that.
But I think where you brought it up, that it'd be 320s makes more sense because an armor class is easier to hit in 5e. Yeah.
Would you allow a double crit though if they roll two not 20s?
That's the rule I was going to bring up that I would come up with.
That's a nice rule. I highly struggle to implement that when we play it.
So yeah, I'm fine with that. If you roll an attack and you roll a 20, when you go to break, if you can roll another 20, you break. If you roll another 20, it's dead. I'm even fine with just a 20 and then another 20.
Unless it has legendary resistance.
Agreed.
So that way your bosses don't get fucked over.
Look at us, creating shit on the fly. Right?
I know, right?
Now,
me and Evan made like this amazing encounter with Mikey and on the back of a Fomorian.
Hey, well, there you go. So what I was going to bring up, and it kind of does with this, is in our game that we currently have going on at our other table on our last Having a Left podcast, you can find on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play at thevillainsman.com. Evan has rolled 2 20s with disadvantage twice now.
I wish you could do that in our games. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Well, don't feel bad. He blunders as much in that game as he does in your game currently. So don't feel bad. The bad thing is he'll say things and it makes it worse. He'll be like, "I'm going to finish this fight," and then he'll miss every attack. But
he does that in our games as well.
But here's the thing that I was thinking about. When and it deals with combat and it kind of plays off the 20 breaking for death and stuff. During combat, when you have an advantage on attack, if you roll and you roll 2 20s, a 20 is a break, correct?
Oh yes.
My rule was either thinking that if you rolled it with 2 20s, you either get to double your damage from your ability score, or add an extra die of damage, just 1 die. Because there should be something there.
Ability score because it's more consistent.
Yeah, well, that's my thing. But because
I'd give the players a choice on what I want to do.
Yeah, but you need to make that solid at some point. So, but that's what I was thinking. You double the proficiency score because what's an extra 4 damage? But depending on where the fight's at, that can make a difference.
Like the average damage of the most weapon dies is like 4 to 5.
Very, very much.
Unless you're using a two-handed weapon or.
Yeah, and your average character is going to have a 3 to 4, whether they go dex to strength. Because I've tended not to max out any of my stats so far in 5e.
One interesting house rule I heard, I think was having to do with Mike Murrow's, that he was testing the idea of using the offhand attacks of a bonus action as part of the attack action.
Yeah, but man, here's the thing. If you've done that with what we've just discussed, that makes that extremely critical in a game. Well, okay, my offhand attack.
Well, the idea is that you're no longer getting the bonus action attacks; you're getting the same number of attacks. It's just along the lines that people that were using 2 weapons were dealing less damage than people using 1 weapon by itself.
Yeah.
Overall, because they use that bonus action for other things.
Yeah, but think about it though. If you done that, how many players do you think would just start picking up 2-weapon fighting?
That was a bit the thing, because you don't get your ability mod on it. You can have a lower AC or you deal less damage.
Okay, but that's true. But here, think about it like this, though. Now, with that rule, okay, just say, by what we just established, I stab you with an offhand weapon, a D4, it's a dagger. Yeah. But I rolled a 20. And then, I get to roll it again. I rolled 20, I just killed it with an offhand attack with a bonus action.
Well, that's the thing, because you could do it as a bonus action normally anyways.
Okay, but I'm saying if it's a regular, added into your attack.
We could also put in like it only applies to primary weapon attacks too, instead of offhand weapon attacks.
Well, and then okay, but here's the thing. But what if you critical with that on advantage and it's 2 20s? Based on what we just talked about, would you get to add the double ability modifier?
I'll let them do that, yeah.
So,
well, ability modifiers aren't put on offhand attacks anyways.
So what you're saying?
Unless they have the.
So what you're saying? They're allowing you to use 2-weapon fighting as
part of your action instead of bonus action.
Man,
it is one of the things that they're just talked about in our testing.
Yeah.
Like with the
I think I would allow that if you had the dual wielder feat.
See, I like that.
I would be fine with that.
I feel like that should be a part of the dual wielder feat already. Actually,
I agree because if you're willing, because here's the thing: if you do that, you can go rapier and do 2d8s. And a D8, man, there's a chance you're gonna roll an 8. But I think if you're building a character for 2-weapon fighting, like when I was running Lynch on last Tavern on the podcast, he was a 2-weapon fighter, but he's fighting with 2d8s. So, and it's not because I designed him like that. It's just that's the other offhanded weapon he wound up finding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're gonna go dual wielder, I think I would allow that.
It also incentivizes like finesse weapons still.
Yeah.
It gives people people a reason to get dual wielder while using finesse weapons.
Yeah. My only thing is, as long as it fits your character story, don't take it for the sake of doing.
I feel like that about everything in the game.
Well, yeah, I do, but we don't know who we're placating to right now. As you're watching us talking, we might talk to somebody that's playing D&D as it's a video game. Like, how much damage can I do? And which to me, that's not how you should play the game. You don't power game. So yeah, I like that. And I think as long as you take the dual wielder feat, your bonus action now becomes part of your attack action. I will agree with that. Now look, we just made 2 rules.
Yeah, because we're awesome.
And we didn't even plan on that.
Oh no,
I think this is a good place to wrap this up.
That's the point of those discussions, though, yo.
Yeah. And
it's a discussion.
For the Villains Man, I'm JVD.
I'm Smiley.
Keep the dice rolling, guys.